Welcome to Tech London, a show featuring interviews with London's top creative entrepreneurs, startups, investors, design agencies, internet marketers and freelancers that make up the Tech London online community, which mostly lives on the Slack instant messaging platform. We rotate through both hosts and guests for these interviews, so you have the chance to hear from multiple perspectives on London's tech scene.
Welcome to Tech London podcast. I'm today's host, Miss Zara. Today in the studio, I have Nigel with me. Nigel, do you want to go on and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I can tell a little bit about myself. So my name is Nigel Twumasi. I'm the co-founder of the manga brand Mayamada. So we make manga. We have our own universe of characters. And we do manga style comic books within that. So I write, I do not draw because I can't. We have someone on our team who can draw. So we also work in gaming, I guess like gaming adjacent. So we don't make games yet, at least, but we do have a gaming event and platform. So a lot of what we do is around like creativity, but also with young people. So delivering workshops, whether it's like comic story workshops or gaming workshops. So a lot of what we do with the gaming event and platform is to provide awareness of career paths in gaming and as best as we can try and promote inclusion and diversity in video games because it's not the most diverse industry. To be fair, there's a lot that fall under that category, but yes.
We will get into that.
Yeah. So I do that. It's a mix of things. So making comics, organizing the event, we have a podcast, although not as nice as this setup I'm currently in. But
you were just speaking about that. You might have to come in and start recording it.
I may just have to.
It's the right place. But yeah.
That's why I do. Well, I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I usually forget something, but in a nutshell.
I'd say firstly, I know you have your ongoing campaign. Do I look like a gamer? Which obviously fits in what we was going to get into, diversity. So could you tell us a little bit what that campaign is about?
Yeah, so we launched the campaign, Do I Look Like a Gamer? In what year are we in? 2022.
The year is going.
Yeah, no, I say that because it's a campaign, it's an initiative we were going to do in 2020. Just before the pandemic.
Wow.
So the aim was then to gather 40 people in and around the video games industry and aim to get a mix of people, so different backgrounds, genders, ethnicity, sexuality, for a photo campaign where everyone would, showcase like their favorite controller to say like, I'm a gamer, this is what I look like. So we had our 40 people, and then I think like 2 days before the first lockdown, we had to I had to send a text to everyone and say like the photo shoot is cancelled, and so yeah, it was among other things around that time.
Yeah, it was a lot going on.
Yeah, so it's pretty much been in limbo since then. But towards the end of 2021, we were able to get the campaign up. We got another 40 people, or some people from the original 40, did the photo campaign, but also have like more ideas about like the scope of the campaign. So the aim of the overall campaign, the photo shoot, is just one part of it, is to showcase the diversity that does exist in gaming as a way to inspire young and aspiring professionals in the space. So, and to also challenge the stereotype of the word gamer. So I don't know, for like people listening, when I say gamer, my impression is a particular image of a particular person comes to mind. And just try and challenge that, because that is not necessarily the type of person that only plays games. So it's about challenging that word, like what does a gamer mean, who can play games, who can make games as well. Because a lot of times we see when we talk about diversity in video games, but in other spaces, it's a lack of diversity, and some of the things that come out of that are a result of a lack of diversity in terms of producing.
Right.
So I mentioned like our workshops. So I do workshops in like schools and colleges. So young people as young as like 7 up to like teens, early 20s. And anytime I mention video games, like hands go up, because obviously everyone's playing games.
Everyone likes it, yeah.
but not everyone realizes like you can be part of making the games. And even if you do, having an understanding that working in video games is not just coding and art.
Right.
So it's trying to broaden the scope of like the roles available for young people, but also for parents, and particularly parents from ethnic minority backgrounds. Because I don't know about you, but I know for
yeah,
for
no,
people in my
I
family,
agree. I can relate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche, but it is. There's truth to it. It's like doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, which I did.
Exactly.
So
really?
Yeah, I'm a former software engineer.
Oh,
in my
wow.
past life, so I did tick that box before I left to make comics.
Go on you.
Yeah. So the campaign is about kind of sort of breaking those stereotypes, changing that narrative, so that ultimately over the long term, we can get more people from diverse backgrounds to be part or want to be part of this industry.
Right. That sounds amazing. So much to take in also. I agree with you when you say, obviously, there's a lack of diversity, I'd say, in most fields, to be honest. But I'd say gaming the most, maybe. Because like you say, you always think of a specific, maybe 7-year-old white boy from maybe America, or, you know, sitting in his room screaming to his Xbox, you know? Yeah. That's what you think of when you think about a gamer, you know? But looking at your campaign, and I think you can all check out the campaign also. It's on Mayamada's TV. Yes,
so Mayamada TV on Instagram. So we started with putting out each of the 40 people on Instagram and Twitter as well. And
don't forget Twitter.
Yeah, and TikTok eventually.
I know, yeah.
It's not there right now, but it will be.
It will be.
Yeah, I only just got the account. So we started like profiling and spotlighting each of the people because, like I said, people from different backgrounds doing different things. And when we did the photo shoot, everyone filled out a little survey. So we got like a nice quote from people, which because I didn't even see people filling it in at the time because I was like running around. So as I was putting the campaign and the website together, reading back like the quotes, and it's very inspirational.
It's very like beautiful to see to myself. Even like I'm not a gamer, but it's, you know, when you're not, I'd say when you're not clued up on something, it's nice to see from someone else's perspective, or like, you know, learning something every time. So yeah, it's nice to see. And
even that, because you say you're not a gamer, which is not true, because everyone plays games, or everyone has a capability
to be honest,
play.
yeah, let me take that back, because I used to own a Nintendo DS one time, you know, and really, a pink one, I remember.
Mine was blue.
Really?
Blue, yeah.
I used to love it, to be honest. And I used to play Xbox and PlayStation, and I used to love playing wrestling on like Raw, stuff like that, and like Mario Cars.
Everyone likes Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart. So to be honest, let me take that back. I am kind of.
Or if you play games on your phone, that counts.
I used to be honest. I might have to start downloading games again just to make my fingers more active. But yeah, okay. Well, I'd say obviously now in this world and the pandemic and everything, how has your work and your comics also, let's take that up. Also, you do comics, and your last one was one called Serious.
Yes. So we have
which is very cool, by the way. I've seen it.
Oh, cool. Thanks. No, we have so for context, so Mayamada, the manga brand. So what we've done is created it's quite meta. It's a universe that is a television network. So each of the comics that we tell the stories of are stories of shows that are in this television network.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's quite meta in that sense. And if you would have seen, like in the first page, each of our stories starts with someone watching the show. So I don't know if you remember like the Simpsons kind of, the opening credits of the Simpsons where
when they all went to the couch.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a play on that, definitely inspired by the Simpsons. So we're Serious Through the Fog, which is our latest one. It follows on from an earlier volume, Serious Volume 1, which we did in 2016. And that is a story that is about a group of young entrepreneurs led by a rabbit. So also all our characters are animals.
Yeah, they look very cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Love the rabbit.
So Blake is the rabbit. So he's a guy from like a not so great neighborhood, which is quite close to what we've called the big city, the jungle. So he's got this dream to make it in the big city, to build his business and prove that people from, you know, smaller areas can do something. So the volume 1 story is about him going to different neighborhoods and building his team, and then they're gonna, you know, prove themselves and all that. So volume 1 ends how it ends, and then Series Through the Fog sort of picks up from that and introduces a pandemic scenario into his world. Yeah, so it wasn't in the plan, but I was working on another story, a different story within the universe, and then the pandemic happened, and then there was not much else to do other than sit and watch everything crumble from a business perspective. But I thought I'd put together sort of what I was going through, what I was seeing, into a story where these characters would have to deal with the pandemic. So yeah, I wrote that in, I need to get my dates, wrote that in I started writing it in 2020, didn't finish it until 2021. So I got it printed towards the end of 2021.
Amazing.
And yeah, so that's our
I really want to read it now, by the way.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea was that it's something that could focus on the positive lessons and outcomes, even in a situation like this. So my hope is, as a sort of all ages brand, so thinking about sort of young people, but I think anyone who's been through that scenario can get something from it, hopefully. But yeah, the idea is to focus on those positive lessons and outcomes that can be had in situations like this.
I love that. Well, like you said, the latest one is obviously just came out recently. But take us a little bit back. When was your first book that you released?
Oh yeah.
How was, to be honest, how did Mayamada start?
Yeah, I mean,
you want to take us back to when it all started? And
how long do we have?
Yeah, we have time. We have about, say, 15, 20.
Okay, I'll adjust. I'll give the director's cut. So,
to be honest, it's fine. Go on as long as you want.
So we had, like I said, former software engineer. So I started this with a friend, Lau, also engineer, not a software engineer, but some other kind of engineering that I can't remember right now, but some kind of engineering. So we both had this interest in like anime, manga. A lot of it came from him. I've got a general interest in like creating stories, like characters, just like cartoons in general. So we came up with this idea for this universe. Then we went off. This was around 2011, 2012. So it's been a while, but I cannot stress how little we knew of what we were doing. So we kind of stumbled, and our plan was to do this big anthology comic with we're going to pull together different artists. We're going to use Kickstarter. This was when Kickstarter was only available in the US.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had to get a friend who was in the US. We were going to use his account, his social security number, and do some stuff. So for anyone who knows Kickstarter.
Never give up.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
Do adjust your plans, but don't give up. So the plan was to raise $10K. Yeah. And if you know Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. So either you get to your limit, your target, or you get nothing. We didn't get to the limit. So we got 4K, which, to be fair, was pretty good considering like we had no track record of making comics, no proof that we could do what we're saying. So we fell short. So what we did is kind of take a step back and then go, okay, let's focus on one story with one artist. That was a story called Samurai Chef, which is a cooking show in the Mayamada universe. So we did that. We used another fundraising platform that was UK based. And then we got the funding for that. So that was a lower amount. We were able to do the comic. So we did that. We built on that, did a second part to that, then made the next one, then the next one, and then sort of built from there. So 2013 is when we finished our first comic, and then we've been building up since then. And then along the way, sort of adding on the gaming event around 2015, the workshops around 2016, and just trying to pull everything together. Wow.
So much, so inspiring. Like there's so much, especially I love that you said you do workshops and you go to schools and stuff like that. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I deliver comic story workshops in schools, colleges, youth hubs. So it's a bit weird because my school was terrible. Then I remember thinking I would never.
Most schools are. Sadly.
Yeah. Apparently,
Public
there's some
schools.
good ones. Yeah, public. Yeah, key distinction.
Right.
So I remember thinking like I'd never be a teacher. I don't know why anyone would want to do this. And here I am with kids in school. So I'm not a
Look at
teacher,
you.
but so I'm I don't know why I'm workshop facilitator. But so the idea is to help young people sort of develop creative confidence and give them a space where they can create their own stories, their own characters, and in the process. Learn important transferable skills, like how do you generate ideas, how do you work with others to tell a story, how do you present your story, so how do you like literally stand up and talk about your ideas, because that's an important sort of presentation, public speaking skills.
Right.
So yeah, I've been doing that, and that's really it's surprisingly satisfying for the most part. Like kids have way too much energy.
They do.
Yeah.
I've been a substitute teacher before, so I know.
Yeah.
Them.
It is.
But I'm happy I don't have kids yet.
Me too. So yeah, but it is good to see, because a lot of times what's interesting is I'll do a session, and even like I think last week, as we record last week, I did a session, and after the session, one of the adults, one of the people in the organization was saying like, oh, I've never seen the kids like that. It's quite like therapeutic to get their ideas out and give them that space.
Right.
Which is cool, because obviously it's like the first time I see them. So I always see them in this space where they're being creative. Right. Whereas other people, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know they were capable of that.
Wow.
And I think that's an important thing. Is like, it's because a lot of times people say, kind of like when you said, oh, I'm not a gamer, people say I'm not creative, which again is not necessarily true, but we have a perception of
so true
what creativity is and who can be creative. And yeah, you don't always get to see it in young people. And I think what I've learned from doing it, apart from kids have too much energy, apart from that, is that we have like this idea of creativity and the value of creativity. So in school, like I did okay at school and then better at university, but there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, that path doesn't fit. And I think what people are being told is that if you don't fit the path, there's a problem with you. Right. Rather than maybe
that's so true.
Yeah, rather than maybe the system isn't accommodating for different types of abilities and talents. So yeah, doing these workshops, you get people who, something else that they've got inside them can come out. And especially where we are now in the world, I think sort of the need for more creativity, more entrepreneurialism. Is that a word?
Yeah, entrepreneurialism.
Is that a word? You know what I mean?
It could be.
Okay.
We could make it.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I hope you guys know what we mean too.
So that word, it requires creativity. It requires, as I've learned, and I say this as someone who went through school and got a degree and worked as a software engineer, it requires something more than just sort of following that set path. So yeah, I can't remember your original question, but I think there was an answer in there.
No, that was an answer. No, that sounds very, very, very inspiring. I'd say let's maybe, because I know we actually have time limit now. I'd say within quarantine, what problems have you been facing that you haven't before?
All of them.
All of them. Everything's just been much harder, hasn't it?
Yeah.
How does it work with, like, for example, like your workshop and stuff? Like, could you still do it right now, or?
So now I can, but at the time, we saw like in the news, sort of schools like shut down and sort of came, shut down, came back and went back in again. And there were no physical workshop deliveries for a long while. Online ones where I did a few online deliveries, and I think doing some of the deliveries, seeing why we send kids to school, it just the value of that becomes apparent, because not everyone has the same access to technology, and with technology being so important to just like life, for better or for worse, is very important. And when you have kids who they don't have the internet access, they don't have, say, the right laptops or whatever it is, then you see how people can get left behind through no necessarily fault of their own. So we're able to eventually get back to doing physical workshop deliveries. So been doing more, did a bunch over the last summer. Usually it's like the half-term summer. So yeah, I'm glad for that because that was a sort of dark period in terms of like every access to sort of what we do as a business just being shut down.
No, that's what was I going to say? Where do you have your workshops? Is it a specific place or do you go around London?
Yeah, it's just around London, just wherever people will have me.
Wherever you can go.
Yeah, so
love that.
A lot of I've done in different boroughs, Hackney, Haringey, where I'm based, Tower Hamlets, Lewisham, Westminster, Morden, which I didn't even know that was a
Oh, Morden, yeah.
Yeah, borough.
I think that's like north.
That's deep south.
Oh,
west.
wow.
Yeah,
My bad.
It's near Wimbledon.
I'm obviously not from London, guys.
But yeah. So it's I don't go to that corner of London very often, but Croydon, that was a journey. So wherever is kind of like trying to establish like wherever the need is and wherever I can, because I find it's difficult as a kind of independent. It's a whole different game. That's like the workshops and working with like oftentimes like schools or sort of local council. It's a whole different game to get recognised and get bookings in that. That could be a whole podcast in that.
And I mean, you have your own podcast, so you do so much, like so much.
Some might say too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's never too much, you know. As long as you're doing what you like, you know.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, let's maybe go into the 5G and the metaverse and everything.
Okay.
What's so crazy stuff going on lately, and I'm sure you've heard about the metaverse.
I've heard of it. I have some views.
Yeah. You want to share them?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. What do you want to know? Or what do you want to know?
I'd say, firstly, do you have any planning, or do you want to get into the metaverse with your company, Mayamada?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if it's a controversial view, but I'm quite skeptical. Is that the word? Skeptical of the
Go
metaverse?
on, feel free.
Yeah, no, it's I get it. I think it's there is some basis to it, and the value it can bring. It's just from what I'm seeing, it feels like we're at that hype stage where in the early like .com phase, there was a lot of like companies who sort of had no necessarily proven business model or way of generating money, but were able to raise a lot of money. And then it crashed because what people were saying like wasn't true, wasn't working out. And then something came of it. So then you get like companies that stuck around like Google or other companies that came later with actual business models and sort of pathways for growth. And I feel we're kind of at that early stage of the metaverse where firstly, I think now everyone who's doing anything remotely AR or VR can slap metaverse label on it and raise a bunch of money. So I think there's some of that happening. So I think I've not yet seen something that I say is necessarily credible. That's not to say there won't be. I've just not seen it yet. But it is something that is, so obviously something is happening because Facebook, or formerly Facebook, changed their name to Meta and have now sort of invested in that. I know there's rumors of Apple doing something in AR, VR space, which I think is a pathway to the metaverse. Even Microsoft recently bought what was a big gaming company, Activision Blizzard, for what was that, $68.7 billion. Dollars, yeah, and I think a lot
send
of
that to my account.
Yeah, I was trying to get in on that deal. So yeah, and I think a lot of people are saying that that's a play for sort of this metaverse, and you see things like Fortnite, which I think, to be fair, Fortnite is probably the most like
the legit
credible because it is a space where people go. There's like concerts in Fortnite.
Right, yeah, I've seen Travis Scott in Fortnite.
Did that. So I think that actually to me is something I can see. Okay, I can see where that can be built out.
Yeah.
So as to sort of Mayamada, despite what I've just said, yes, yes, I can see that because we have these characters.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can have
the whole gaming thing. I think it would make sense, you know. Yeah,
so there is something in there. So I think there's something in there that we can look to. So for us, but in looking at it in general, like I said, I think there's a lot of talk and a lot of hype, and then also lots of cryptocurrencies is as well. So
the world is going mad. There's just so many new stuff, and it's like you don't know what to believe. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, where should I go? And it's like the rich people are just buying everything, and it's just like
and I think that's to be fair, that's part of it as well, where a lot of the hype comes from the people who have something to gain by the sort of the movement in like transactions of cryptocurrency. Because I think for that, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but for the average person, it doesn't seem like a sort of viable investment or something that is not properly understood.
Right.
But there is a lot of people making a lot of money.
No, 100.
Yeah, I just don't think it's the average person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not me or someone else who's seeing the street. It's probably, like you say, mostly also like bigger companies like Facebook and Google or whatever. But yeah, because I think it would be cool to have like a Mayamada world in the metaverse if you guys, or maybe that could be because you said you are a software engineer.
Formerly,
but you still
forgotten
are.
a lot.
Oh, really?
It goes very quickly, and the technology moves. So
it changes. Yeah.
The principles I think stay largely the same, but the actual implementation just it's different.
That's sick. So, what would you say is the future for Mayamada?
That is a good question. So when we started, we always had this idea for animation, and then we realized how much it takes to make an animation, and it was like, oh, let's make comics instead. Right. But the idea is still there, so I think
it will still come.
Yeah. I think being able to once we figure out the process, like how that happens, and I've been learning about that over the past year in particular. So I think turning what we have in terms of the stories into like animation on whatever platform it makes sense. I think being able to build out our own destination, essentially. So we do our GamePad event at the moment, and that's focused on video games, but then being able to bring in other elements of what we do as a brand. So video games, like animation I mentioned, like comics, cosplay, because we have cosplay involved in our events, into like almost like a theme park like destination where people can come, like all ages, family friendly kind of thing.
Like an expo or?
Like an expo, like an expo / festival.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that people could come down. And I think some way we can incorporate like young people, because I'm still quite big on having young people, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds, like I said, being able to be given those opportunities to work in spaces, creative spaces like this, and develop those skills. So I think some combination of that, and then maybe some metaverse video game stuff in there as well.
I'm excited to see what you guys have for us in the future. We're probably gonna finish up, but would you please give us your details, Instagram, Twitter? Where are you on?
So we have our website, mayamada.com. So mayamada.com. We also have the campaign website is at looklikeagamer.com. And then we're on social media. So Mayamada on Twitter and Facebook, if anyone is still using Facebook. We have Mayamada TV on Instagram and TikTok. And what else? Twitch, that's the other one.
Do you want to just spell it out just in case? Yeah,
so Mayamada is Mayamada. And then add a TV and that will take you to TikTok, Twitter, or Instagram.
Soon TikTok.
Yes, there is a TikTok account. I just haven't quite got my head around
creating the content.
I'm not big on social media in general, so I don't actually have a personal social media account. But
I'm kind of the same, but we're probably going to have to get out there.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to. Especially what we do.
Yeah, so I have to figure something out.
Right.
So, you can wait for that.
Well, Nigel, it's been great talking to you. You have an amazing story. And I know it was very short today, but I feel like we've got to know a little bit about you and Mayamada. And I wish you the best. And see you soon. See you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Tech London show. If you're interested in joining the community or even making an appearance on this show, make sure you join our Slack group over at techlondon.io. Till next time.